everybody, and welcome back to House Rules, our board game channel. I'm Aurora.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Faith.
So today we want to just kind of talk to you. This is our second episode. It's kind of our gateway into the YouTube board game community. Yeah. And we just thought it'd be cool to go over with you guys our kind of favorite gateway games. Games for beginners, what have you. When we think of board game or gateway games, we think more of like easy to learn.
Easy to teach.
Yeah, easy to teach. Easy to get to the table. And games that don't necessarily take too terribly long. So we just thought we'd kind of go over what ours were, like I said. So we have a top 5 list for you. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll get started with our top 5. So number 5, Faith, why don't you just start us off?
My number 5 is Splendor. And then, so that game is you collect gems for cards to earn you points, and the first one to 15 points is the winner. Or not.
Triggers into the game?
Yeah, and then everybody gets like one more turn, so it's fair.
Yeah. So Splendor's it's a nice game. It's easy. You can only do three things on your turn. So yeah, Splendor's by what? Cowboy games?
Space Cowboy.
Space Cowboy games. There you go. So yeah, it was one of the ones that we used to teach for a little bit, and when we got into board gaming with our family, Splendor was one of the ones that the girls took to really, really quickly. So, Victoria, how about you? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Dixit by Asmodee Games, and that was our first teaching game that we got, and it's a kind of an abstract game with surreal cards, and you have to act out clues to get the other players to guess your cards.
Well, not so much acting as much as like giving different clues, sounds.
It's a little bit charades.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like board game charades. A little bit.
Except for there's no acting.
Yeah.
You don't get up and jump around. You just kind of give quick worded clues, whistling,
I think we have
lyrics to a song, something like that.
We have a couple different games like
so,
that.
But yeah, there's an active player. There's a bunch of cards. You give your clue. Everybody hands in their cards for that clue that they think represents that clue. And you're trying to pick the active player's card. So it's a really quick game to play. It's fun, easy to get into, easy to teach, and the artwork is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, my number 5 is a game called Megaland, and it's right behind me. It's a game by Red Raven Games. Ryan Lockett, I think, is the designer. I can't remember the person who does the artwork on it. But it's a pressure luck game. The artwork's really cool. We like the artwork of the Red Raven games in general, the Above and Below series and all that stuff. But you collect things going through these different levels. The longer you stay,
the more things, gems, resources you get.
The more items you can get, the more resources. But there's a danger of running into monster and taking too much damage and then coming back with nothing. Yeah. So, great little game. You can learn it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and be done playing it in 20. So, that's my number 5. How about you, Aurora?
My number 5 is Roll For It. It's a Calliope game. You roll the dice, and you put them on the cards. And there's like 3 or 4 cards, right?
3 or 4 cards out there, and everybody's trying to match the dice up to the card, whoever gets it.
Yeah, there's like 2, 5, 10, 15, and you're trying to get to 50 points. When someone gets 50 points, they win. Game ends.
Yeah, it's a nice little game. So, that was quick. That was our number 5 game. Let's go on to our number 4 game. All right, so number 4, why don't you go ahead and do your number 4 first? We'll go back this way.
My number 4 would be Scarf and Barf. It's by Steven Jackson Games. They have a couple different ones. We have another one.
We have Munchkins.
They have Hack and Slash.
Hack and Slash.
We have that one too. So you have these like food cards. They're really wild and all that. So you choose these 3 food cards, and they have little numbers and points, and you roll these dice for the rides, and then
if your number shows up,
then you have to
get
put
rid
the
of it.
card.
right.
It's like you threw the card up.
Yeah,
Like
you
threw that food
you
up.
threw your food up.
Yeah. The scarf part is you eat the food, and the barf card is the ride part.
Right. There's no real barfing though. So.
Yeah.
My number 4 is a game by Ravensburger. Who knows? It's the Quest for Eldorado. It's just a fun little deck building meets racing game. You buy these cards into your deck. You use those cards to make your way around this track that you've built from these modular tiles. Again, super easy. The mechanics are nice and simple, so anybody can play it. And you can set the board up as hard as you want, as easy as you want, and it's super fun. Mm-hmm. So, the Quest for Eldorado.
Try it.
What about you?
My number 4 is Azul by Next Move Games, and it is a mosaic building game. Each player has a board, and they are collecting tiles from the main center draw pile, and each player wants to build the most beautiful mosaic.
Yeah, the one good thing about Azul, and actually I think that one's right up on the shelf
it's right
too.
behind us.
There's tons of expansions for that game. I mean, you can even go on and get, once you like it enough, you can get little tiles.
Special tiles.
Special tiles are different
colored.
colors, different patterns on them. So, and then there's, I don't even know how many expansions. 4, I think. But yeah, Azul's a really good one.
My number 4 is Sheriff of Nottingham. You have to put these goods in a bag, and then there's a sheriff, and you have to try to get it past them.
Yeah, it's a bluffing game.
Yeah.
So, everybody takes turn being the sheriff.
Yeah.
Twice, right?
Twice.
Yeah,
Twice.
it goes around twice.
And, you're trying to earn the most points
Yeah.
by getting cheese, eggs, or not
Chicken.
eggs, chickens, bread.
And cheese and apples.
Or you try to sneak in contraband.
Spices, weapons,
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff
fine
that the
silks.
king doesn't want, or the sheriff doesn't want in the market. So, that one you want to play with. If you have a fun group that likes to have a good time, be a little sneaky, a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
That one's fun. We play that one quite a bit. Is that all of number 4s?
Yep.
I think
Man, we're blowing through this list.
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to number 3. All right, so who we started with last time? You? We're gonna start with you now.
My number 3 is Azul, which we already went over. It's the mosaic piece, so... And then trying to go to different...
Yeah.
Trying to get horizontal, vertical, all 5 of each.
And your favorite color to go after is the blue and white one, huh?
Yeah.
So we had a little crossover on our list.
Yeah, a little crossover. Gotta love crossovers. What about you? What's your number 3? Man, I forget where we're at.
You just said it.
My favorite, or my number 3 game is Tsuro by Calliope Games, and it's a tile laying game, and you're trying to build a path to keep your stone golem
Yeah, your little
on the
icon.
path and knock the other players off.
Last
the
man
board.
standing.
So it plays up to 8, so it's good for larger
And then
groups.
there's a bunch of other ones you could get. The Water Rising and the Phoenix Rising, so...
Oh yeah, Phoenix Rising and then Tsuro of the Seas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 dragons in the water one where they have to move and they knock you off, so it's a little bit harder where your dragon thing can move.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the first games, I think I got it for a birthday, right after we got into the hobby. So, playing that game for a while. It's my turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. My number 3 is actually a pretty classic game. I think a lot of board gamers have probably heard / played this one. It's not a classic. It's newer. Cascadia.
It's right behind us.
That one's right behind me. I was getting confused with my number 2. So Cascadia is it's very beautiful. It's laying tiles, putting animals tokens on these tiles, and you're trying to score points by making the animals on the tiles match certain patterns. Again, kind of a theme for my gateway games is quick to learn, and they're over pretty quickly. But you want to replay it, just again 2 or 3 times right in a row. So Cascadia is by what? AEG Games and Flat Out Games. So it's beautiful artwork. It's kind of about national parks and stuff like that. So just a fun, quick little game.
Yep.
What about you?
My number 3 game is Ice Cool. It's by what's it by?
It's by Brain Games.
Brain Games.
So you kind of like cage your hand on this board. You have these penguins.
Well, hey, start over just a second. The cool thing about Ice Cool is the box is the board.
Yeah.
So you set up the board, and then everybody's got a little penguin thing.
Yeah.
And it's like a Weeble.
It's a Weeble.
Weeble. And all the players, except for one, start on one side. And they are trying to go through the school and catch these fish, these little penguin Weebles.
Yeah.
Then one player is the hall monitor.
Yeah.
And so he's going to go, or she's going to go and try to catch all the other players before they can get their fish.
Because it's like after school hours, you can't be
Yep.
there.
And you just collect little cards, and after everybody's been the seeker once,
Yeah.
game's over.
And the way you move your penguins, you kind of have to like cage your hand.
Over top of it and flick it.
And then
It's like, yeah, you put it next to it and you go.
Boom. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, a little fun dexterity game.
And hand-eye
Yeah,
coordination.
gotta have some hand-eye coordination, don't we? All right. Am I on number 2?
No, it's
yeah,
a
we're
rock.
on our number.
Number 2.
That was number 3. Right, you go.
Oh, you're number 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're gonna move on to number 2.
It's time for our number 2.
Okay, we're gonna move on to number
Yep.
2. Wow.
We're moving through the countdown.
My number 2 would be what was it? Dungeon Scrawlers.
Dungeon Scrawlers.
You kind of have like this what are they?
Try erase board.
Dry
Yeah,
erase
they're kinda like
sheet
these-
mat.
You have a dry erase marker, and you kind of there's different levels, and in each level there's these different things. They're new, kind of like additions.
You're just trying to score points. Everybody takes on a character class from like a classic Dungeons and Dragons,
And then
clerics, rangers, and you just take your little marker and you scribble through this maze, this little dungeon, going over different icons and tracing around different icons and scribbling out monsters, and you score points that way based on certain rules.
But you lose points if you go through a wall or.
Yeah, you lose points through certain things. So at the end of a timer, whoever, or when you're done with that one, you go on to the next one, and you do 3 games, I think, or 3 kind of sheets
3 sheets
at a time.
And
whoever has the most points after all 3 sheets are done is the winner. So it's a really quick little game. Well, I could take as long as you want. I suppose you can go through all of them if you wanted to. But if you're kind of into like the Dungeons and Dragons and you like to scribble on paper, there you go.
Perfect game for you.
All right, is it my turn?
Yep, it's your turn.
Number 2. All right, so what I was going to say earlier, this is more of a classic board game that a lot of people who have been in the hobby and maybe even the newer ones will know about. Carcassonne, a little tile laying game. You put out you kind of build the map as you go. You're connecting city tiles, road tiles, and inadvertently farm tiles. And when you place your meeple on it, you're going to score points for doing that in different ways. There's a big box that has like, I think it's 1,000 expansions. I may be wrong, but that may be an exaggeration, but
Maybe 7.
it's the tile laying aspect. There's just so many different tiles. The replayability is just almost endless. And again, you can play it quickly. You can learn it in 2 or 3, 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you
And
can add
eventually
one expansion if you
replayability.
want, add 2 expansions, add all the expansions, but you might go crazy because there's a lot of them. So, Carcassonne. Actually, I don't even know who that one's by, but it's a great game. So, what's your number 2, Vic?
My number 2 is Ticket to Ride by Days of Wonder. And it's
Alan Moon.
Alan Moon.
That's, the designer.
And it's a not card management, but
you have to lay down trains and you have to get to destinations.
you have destinations and you'll collect colored ticket cards that you will use to lay track across the country, the state. There's
And the longer
tons of expansions for it.
Yeah.
Different countries.
How many expansions do we have?
the
for that
longer
game?
the trail, the more points it's worth. So
It's like we have
It's kind of the quintessential gateway game as far as that's. It's easy to get, easy to find. So, yeah. Ticket to Ride. Yeah, I think we have 4.
Yeah.
The expansions for that one are great because they come
And
2 to a box,
Yeah.
it seems like. So, you get your classic ones, Ticket to Ride North America, and Ticket to Ride we have Europe.
Mhm.
And then we have a whole bunch of other ones.
We have
So,
like Japan, which is a whole new one.
yeah.
It
You have to
goes
take
into
out a
the
bunch of your
Japan
trains.
Well, we won't get into that because later we might do our whole Ticket to Ride
collection.
collection type of thing. So,
Yep.
Faith, I think it's on to your number 2.
My number 2 is also Ticket to Ride, but we don't need to go into
Bam!
that.
Crossover! Just the same.
All right.
All right, so we're going to go on
Number
to
1.
number 1. And then, okay, let's see. So we want
It's
what's your number 1, Faith?
My number 1 is Roll For It, which we already went over. You roll dice, you put them on cards,
Yep. Roll the
Yeah.
dice, and you put them on cards.
and you score points.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I'd add to the Roll For It one is there's 2 different boxes you can buy, or you can just buy the deluxe version.
Yeah.
So if you have a family of 4 people, 1 box is fine, but actually having the 2 boxes is even better. And I would just say get the deluxe version because there's a lot more cards for it. There's a lot, and you can play it with I think it's 8 people. So, but that's a game again you can learn in 2 minutes and
Yeah, and then play in like 5.
yeah, and everybody's gonna have fun. It's a little bit of take that because I stole that card from you with the dice. It's all luck based, but it's a great game. So, all right, we're number 1.
Yeah,
Number 1.
My
I'm looking around like there's gonna be a 1.
My number 1 is Cascadia, and for the same reasons that Jeremy loves it, I love it too. It's kind of a newer one to our collection,
Right.
but
Yeah, it's not that old. I think it's only a couple years old, but it's just super simple.
yeah,
And
it's become a favorite.
I want to play it.
What's yours?
I think
Mine?
Yeah.
My number 1?
Yeah.
I think I know it.
I think you probably do.
I know it. You've said it many times. Like every time we play it, this is my favorite game. I love this game.
My favorite game, my number 1 game, and I think it's a great gateway game, is 7 Wonders. It's card drafting, so there's plenty of games out there that do card drafting, so it's a great way to get started in that mechanic of games. But you're trying to build your wonder, but you can go for military, you can go for commerce, you can go for science. And the art on the cards is really cool. It, depending on whether you're playing 4, 5, 6, 7 people, changes up. I don't recommend that one at 2 people.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that...
Unless you play the dual one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
7
yeah.
Wonders Duel is what I'd go get. Now, they did recently update, or at least make a second edition of 7 Wonders, which I haven't played yet. I've only played the first edition one by Repo Games.
And duels.
But they've redone that one. And I think the overall game is still the same. I think they just tweaked and changed some iconography and stuff on it. Again, expansions just improve the game. Kind of give you a little direction when you're starting. And then they also have a new game, 7 Wonders Architects.
Yeah.
Which, for family-wise, and we've only really played that one on BGA, but it played great on BGA. It was easy, quick to understand. So, and again, if everybody's just kind of paying attention, the game is over pretty quick. All right, you're the last number 1. Can you handle this?
Yeah.
Think you can handle this?
My number 1 would be Ticket to Ride.
Oh, geez, I feel left out on the Ticket to Ride thing.
At least put it on your.
I'll put in my. It was an honorable mention. It's on my
Yeah.
short list.
You
missed the train on that.
There is a lot of reasons why I love Ticket to Ride. The artwork is great. I love the way that the game plays. And then every time we go to a game store and there's a Ticket to Ride, I'm like, hey, can we get this one?
Yeah, it is always nice to just have it's more of the same. You know what I mean? It's stuff that you already love. Here's more of it.
And they all play kind of the same, but like they have different mechanics and stuff. So
Yeah, there's not a lot of mechanics, but there's a little bit of a change. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's our top 5 lists of gateway games. And I'd like to say that you've got, 5, 10, 15, 20 games,
But most of them.
there was a few
repeated.
crossovers, and
Yeah.
these are games that, for the most part, are in our collection. We've played a few other games, but we own all of these games, and we'd recommend them to anybody there, or out there. But anyway, that's all for us. If there's another game that we missed that you think should really be on our gateway, go ahead and comment. If you agree with our games, comment. But
hit the like button, subscribe button. If you
what should they do?
Hit the like.
And
subscribe.
Boom. All right, well, that's it from us here at House Rules. So come back next time, and we'll talk
see
to you
you
about more
later.
games.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.